Hi, welcome to episode 143 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name's Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at the corner of knitandtea.com, which is where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called the Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my handspun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called the Corner of Knit and Tea where we are finishing one along and starting another. So lots of exciting things happening over there. I will get to that in just a minute. Hello, welcome. It is Sunday, July 2nd, and I welcome all of you who are watching for the first time. I hope you'll enjoy. And for those of you who are returning, you will notice that things are a little different. As I mentioned last week, we are having some house guests on and off for the rest of the summer, and in preparation for that, we bought a few futons. So now I have this nice couch slash futon in my craft room, and I haven't really decorated yet because it just arrived yesterday, but I added my sock yarn, or my worsted weight blanket that I did with sock squares to kind of homey it up a little bit, and I have a tray with my tea and some other fun things to talk about, and of course all of my knitting and spinning. So I feel like this is going to be a good spot, and I have lots to talk about today. So we will do the usual things, which is tea, knitting, and spinning, and then I will talk about the alongs. The sock along just concluded on Friday, June 30th, and I have prizes to announce for that. And I will announce them here, and then I will go announce them in the thread. So for those of you following along on Ravelry, you'll get notified there as well. And then I will talk a little bit about Tour de Fleece, which runs coinciding with Tour de France. It's an event for spinners, and I will show some of the prizes that I am planning to give away for that. So it should be a busy episode. Let's start with the tea. Today I am drinking from a tea bag. It is Twinings Chai Ultra Spice. It was something that was put into a package, and I am drinking in my Loopy U Spring Fling mug. I went back to that all the way in the spring of 2010, back when the Loopy U was in St. Louis. Now it is in Fort Collins, Colorado. And it was a lovely time. I can highly recommend it as a retreat. And I love a good spicy chai, so I'm excited for this. Yeah, and that is delicious. I let it brew just a smidge too long, so it is really, really strong. But I added a little bit of sugar, and actually I may go back and add a little bit of milk to this one. Generally, I don't prefer milk in my tea. I know, it's a very strong issue, but in chai, sometimes I like just a little bit. So let's get started. I had a couple of finished objects this week. For those of you following along on Instagram, I knit some preemie hats for a friend of a friend of a friend, sort of. Had a baby who's in the NICU who could use some warm hats. So we knit a few, my whole knitting group sort of got involved. And I'll probably knit another one or two this week, but I knit a couple for the first batch. So I don't have those to show you because I already gave them to my friend to FedEx off. But the big finished object that I have for this week are my Mercury socks. This is my, I believe my fourth finished pair for the sock along in my group. It might only be the third. I can't remember because I cast on a bazillion socks. But this is my adaptation of the Mercury socks. I ended up only using the pattern on the front of the leg. I didn't use it on the foot. I added an Eye of Partridge heel, which I believe was not standard in the pattern. The pattern is a freebie, but once you learn how to make your socks, a lot of people, including me, prefer to make them sort of as we like them. And so I kind of substitute heels and cuffs and different things in and out. So these are my final for the knit along, sock along in my group that ended on the 30th. And that's about all I have to say about them. The yarn is yarn that I received in a swap from my swap partner in Sweden, and it is something that she dyed herself. The camera doesn't do it justice because it's this beautiful blue, but it's also got bits of purple and kind of a violet in there, and then it's got slightly lighter bits that almost lean towards teal. They are perfect for me because I am a blue lover, but I I can't tell you what the base yarn is because I don't know. It feels like it's probably like a Regia or something, but again, I don't know because all I got was that it was 100 grams. So, and I know how much I used in knitting the sock, but that doesn't tell me anything about the yardage. So those are, but typically I will tell you I end up using about 250 to 275 yards for socks. I have a size 6.5 foot, so I'm tiny, but those socks are done. I also, last week talked to you about the saga of my socks, where I couldn't decide what kind of heel I wanted to put in, and last week I showed you the sock without the heel, just on needles, and I went ahead and finished that heel this week. And so that one is half finished. I still have not started the next one yet, which I really need to do, but this one is done. What I ended up doing was knitting my standard heel sock pattern and then using Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator. It's the Afterthought heel, and I made a joke last week about the Afterthought Forethought because you do actually put waste yarn in there, but I put that in there and I'm reasonably pleased. I don't think those fit my heel the best of all the heels. A heel flap and gusset is really the best for mine, but that is that one. This is On the Brown, and it's called After the Rain, or After the Storm, and it's this dark blue, and then it's got splotches, little speckles of all colors of the rainbow. So I need to do the second on this one. I will be getting that started. But in the meantime, I kind of treated myself. A couple weeks ago, I finished kind of a big tech editing project. And when I got paid, I decided that I wanted to treat myself with a little something. And I went ahead and ordered, my favorite needles for a long time were my US Signatures. They were US 1s, 2.25 millimeter. And I knit all of my socks on them. I still knit all my sport weight socks on them, and actually this one was thick enough that I ended up using my US Signatures on this one. But for over the last year or so, I have found that my gauge is a little bit loose, and so I end up knitting most of my socks on zeros now. And I have been test knitting a bunch of needles. So far, the winners have been the Addy Flip Sticks. I have really enjoyed using those. I have tried the Zings. I've tried the Hayas. I can't remember what else I tried. I think those were the only two that I ordered in the zeros. But my favorites have been the Addies. And for a while, I just couldn't bring myself to order size zeros from Signature. Signature needles, as you know, are sort of the Cadillac of needles. They are quite expensive. My pair of ones, or my set of ones, was actually a Christmas gift from my mother-in-law. She asked one Christmas if she could get me something special that was knitting related, and I sent her a link, and they showed up under the tree, which was lovely. But I decided as a treat to myself, I was going to go ahead and try the zeros. They are quite different from the regular Signature needles. They are made out of a different material. I can only assume that this is because the material just isn't suitable for things that are as thin as zeros. So zeros are 2.0 millimeters. And these are them, and because I got a new set of needles that I had been desperately wanting for a while, I decided to cast on a new sock. Because I didn't want to switch on my existing socks because I thought that my gauge might not be the same. That's what she said. Anyway, the things we tell ourselves so we can start things. Anyway, I just managed to put a heel into this one. Yesterday, finished the heel, but I decided to do some stripey goodness. I'm just trying to get these in a presentation fashion. I guess I will put them on the... I just finished the heel, so I've got all the gusset stitches, so it's kind of a little bit obnoxious, but let's see if I can get these on the sock blocker so you can see what I want you to see. This is a Knit Picks. It's Felici. It's in the colorway Fanciful, which are these pinks and purples and blues. And so it's like a magenta, and then you've got kind of a plummy purple, and then you've got kind of a slate blue and a little bit slightly brighter blue, and then kind of a turquoise, and then kind of a lilac or orchid. and then it goes right back into the pink. That's about where I'm ready to pick up. So I am knitting these socks. I went ahead and used my Knit Pick Stroll in the navy for the cuff and the heel. On the heel, I just did a simple slip stitch garter heel. I've been doing Eye of Partridge because I like them, but on this one there was no interest in the yarn because it's a solid color. So I went ahead and just did the slip stitch heel, and I am now starting the gusset to pick up and do the foot. So that is the next sock that is in progress, and I will say so far my opinions on the signature needles are mixed. I wanted to love them. I knew going into it that the material is slightly different, so I might not like them as much as the other ones, or, you know, so that it wasn't specifically a shoe-in. I love the other ones because I think they've got aluminum on them, and it really warms to your hands. And so they just feel really good to hold and use. And these are a different material. They're all one material. So I'm not finding them quite as nice to hold in my hands. They are super sharp, as signature needles are, with the stiletto points. The zeros, I believe, are only available in the stiletto points. So the jury is still out on those. Now, like I said, the signatures are sort of the Cadillac of needles. A set of 5 of the US ones will set you back about, I think, $57 plus shipping, and the US zeros are $90. So they are super pricey. Like I said, I was treating myself. And the jury's still out. I haven't decided if I think they're worth the price tag yet. So I will continue knitting my socks, and I'll get back to you on that. So the final work in progress that I have to show you is, it is now July, so I cast on for Roxy's sweater. As I told you, I am doing, and I have the printout now so I can show you, I am doing the... get you to the first page. It is the Playful Stripes cardigan by Alana Dakos, and it is a pretty simple cardigan with a yoke. I printed this in black and white, so it's hard to see. The detailing on the yoke is kind of an alternating of garter and stockinette, so that you get kind of a stripy thing going, and the suggestion is to use leftovers from your stash and just use little bits of each color. I decided to go ahead and use one color for kind of the stripy section, and that is some Sanguine Griffin Bugga in the very Quiet Cricket. It's a little bit hard to see on here, but it's blues and purples and browns and pinks. It's dark and intense. And then the color that I am doing for the main body of the sweater is this Cascade 220. This is Alaskan Sky. It is a very pale blue. And I worked on this yesterday, and I didn't do a gauge swatch, which I then regretted because then it looked too big, and so then I had to pull it out. And so I spent all day yesterday, or not all day, but a good chunk of yesterday at a barbecue with our friends, working on the picot hem, which is at the bottom. This is a yoked cardigan, so you knit the bottom up to the armpits, then you knit the sleeves up to there, and then you join and do the yoke. So I am not very far, but I have started, and I do believe that this will fly along pretty well. It is in sport weight yarn, and I am using US 3s, and we will see how this goes. I think this is going to be a really sweet sweater, and all I have left to do, besides knitting it, is to pick up some buttons. This is my loopy project for the month, and I expect that I will continue on some of the socks, but I will probably not cast on much else this month because I will spend my time spinning. So that is the project that I will work on this month, and hopefully next week after, I will take it to knit night, and I will take it maybe even to my lunch hours this week, so hopefully I will get a little bit of work done and maybe work on those other pairs of socks. But that's about it for knitting for this month because I'm going to spend my time spinning. So, sip of tea, and let's move to spinning. Okay, last week and the week before, I was showing you what I was working on, which was my version of Bomb Pop. This is Falkland that I bought blank and dyed it in the colorways of Bomb Pops, which these days they also make them looking like Rocket Pops, so some people call them Rocket Pops, What I did was I spun this in a gradient. I spun the white, and then there's a short section where I spun the red, and then red and white sort of overlap, and then you have white, and then the white and blue sort of overlap, and then we go into blue. So it is a gradient skein. I know it looks crazy bright here. It is still a little bit wet, so it will probably not go up into the shop until tomorrow. It is about 7.5 ounces, and I got about 650 yards out of it. I would say it is a sport weight. It would make a great shawl to wear kind of on the cool summer evenings, or it could make a super fun yoke of a sweater into the sweater, and then maybe just pick a solid color for the rest of the sweater, or I don't know, it would just be super fun. So I had a good time with this one. And like I said, this will be up in the shop, probably not tonight, probably tomorrow, because it is still kind of damp and I want to get a final weight on it. I will say that if any of you were watching my Instagram this week, I divided badly between the fibers. I basically, because it was about 8 ounces total of fiber, I went ahead and divided it between 2 bobbins, and when I divided, my bobbins were about an ounce apart. So one was about 3.5 ounces and one was about 4.5 ounces, and it took some creative doing with the plying. I had to pull a little bit of it off, which is why the finished weight is probably closer to 7.4 or 7.5 ounces. I had to pull probably half an ounce off just to sort of make I wanted things to line up, not exactly, I wanted there to be some overlap in each section, but I also wanted things to sort of do a gradient, and it would have been kind of not right if I had kept going the way I was. It also means that the last section, which the last section I played actually was the red section, is a little bit longer than the blue and the white sections, but that's fine. It is going to be super fun. So that will be up in the shop this week if that is what you are interested in. So the tour kicked off yesterday. I will use this moment to talk a little bit about the tour. Every year there is a huge bicycle ride in France, in Europe, but specifically mostly in France, although this year they started in Germany and they'll be in Belgium a little bit, called the Tour de France. It is in its 104th year, and Intrepid Spinners decided that they wanted to develop an event to go along with Tour de France, and I first participated in 2010, so I know it dates back that far, but I'm sure it dates back further than that. I just wasn't aware of it before then. But Intrepid Spinners use the tour to spin along, and I actually like I actually like watching the tour. And so I watch the tour and I spin each night. So yesterday was the kickoff of the tour. It was the time trials, and I don't always enjoy those that much because it's the same 14 miles that every rider has to ride to get their individual time. But there also was a preview of this year's tour that had been published last week, so we watched that last night, and I started my first spin. This is, as I showed you last week, I showed you all the things that I'm going to spin last week. This is New Summer. It is Blueface Leicester, and it is a Hello Yarn Club. And it is pinks and browns and oranges, and then there's some kind of sagey green teal in there. And this is half the fiber, so 2 ounces, and the other half I managed to get onto this bobbin. So I am halfway through this spin. My hope is that I'll finish the singles tonight, and I might even ply tonight. I don't know. It just kind of depends how much time I spend spinning. I would like to get a little bit of work done on Roxy's sweater, although I do reserve these 3 weeks often for nothing but the spins. And I will be out of town a little bit during this and probably won't take my spinner with me, so maybe I will just spin tonight. But that is what I'm working on. It's the first spin of the tour, and I'm going to take some photos and post them, and then, like I said, get back to spinning. My hope is to finish this game today or tomorrow. My niece and nephew arrive tomorrow and will be here definitely through the 4th, so tomorrow will be Monday. They arrive tomorrow. They'll be here through the 4th, and then I think they're going to my mother-in-law's on the 5th, but I don't know for sure. So that will impact my spinning time a little bit because I'm sure they don't want to sit and watch the tour for 3 hours and watch me spin along with the tour for 3 hours. So that is what's going on right now. You will see lots of spins in the next couple weeks, and definitely keep an eye on my Instagram feed if you're interested. Almost everything I'm spinning will be for the shop, so keep an eye on it, and if there's something that looks good to you, let me know. So let's do the final prize draws and whatnot. We just finished the sock along in the group, and we had we got up to post 112, so there were 111 pairs of socks from May 1st through June 30th, and I want to thank each and every one of you who participated, because that is just awesome. I was so excited to see it. If you are still interested in knitting socks, as I am, Amanda over at Not a Podcast, she is Wit on Ravelry and So Nitpicky elsewhere, and she is also the owner of Lammy Toes. She is doing her annual Sock It to Summer, and so if you are interested in continuing to knit socks throughout the summer, check out her podcast. Well, check out her podcast, because her podcast is great. Check out her group and Sock It to Summer, and she has some great prizes going on in there, and so you're welcome to participate over there too. I know I'm just inviting you to join her knit along. But for my along, I said that knitting and crochet were acceptable, although I don't think we had any crochet pairs of socks. I think everyone was knit. But there were a ton of great sock patterns. My queue kind of exploded a little bit, and it was great to see everyone knitting socks. I had said up front there were 3 prizes. The first prize is a skein of sock yarn and a pattern up to 10 Ravelry dollars from me. And I went through my stash this morning and picked out, this is actually, speaking of Lammy Toes yarn, this is Lammy Toes yarn, and it is her Sweet Pea Sport, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it is 328 yards for 100 grams. I have knit some great socks out of her Sport, and it is super squishy and fabulous. And this color is called Holly Jolly, which was one of her holiday colors from November of 2016, and it's got kind of a red that makes the yarn a little bit pink. It has a turquoise blue, and then it also has some bright kind of a Kelly green for the tree, and it just looks like the tree and lights. The base is white, so it's got all kinds of pinks and blues and greens, and I thought this was a great one. And I know it's July, so you can start knitting your Christmas socks now. So they'll be ready to wear for Christmas, right? Christmas in July. So this one plus the Ravelry pattern up to $10 of your choice, and I did a random number generator draw on the thread and got a winner for that. The winner is 91. That is MVA 5493. That is Valerie in Kentucky. So Valerie, if you will send me a Ravelry message, let me know what pattern you would like, and then also send me your name and address, and I will get this out to you. Congratulations. The second prize is a simple sock pattern booklet, and I forgot to look at, I think it is called Luli's Simple Socks. It was an ebook that was published earlier this year, and it's got 4 great patterns, and that was a generous donation from Vinca Kent, and that is my friend Maureen. She lives over in the UK, and she wanted to donate a copy of that to one lucky winner. And that one lucky winner, it was post number 106, Mrs. O. Urbanstetter. That's Leah from Kansas City. She's one of my neighbors, sort of. We haven't met in person, but we've met online and talked a little bit. And so I will be letting Maureen know that you are the winner. I will also post these all in the thread so you'll see, and she will be in touch with you via sending that to you. I also had an anonymous prize donor who wanted to donate a Ravelry pattern. I believe it was up to $8. I will double check the thread for that, and I'll post that in the thread. And so I drew for that, and that is post number 48, which is Silly Mom, which is Sylvia from Sylvia from Missouri, and we're kind of neighbors. I'm in Kansas, so Sylvia, please PM me, and I will what pattern you would like. And I will take care of getting that to you, and that was from someone anonymous who asked not to be named. So thank you all for participating in the sock along. We will do maybe something else in the fall. We will also definitely do in November and December. I always do the gift along, which is craft something for somebody other than yourself, and any crafting that you're doing for the holidays counts. as long as it's not something for yourself. And I will probably try and come up with one more craft along to do in the fall. And then I will also be doing Nanny Swamo, which is National Knit a Sweater Month in November, and that is through the Nanny Swamo group. So those are the things that are kind of upcoming. But as I talked about, we are working on Tour de Fleece, and the Corner of Knit and Tea has a team. It is Team CKT, and we have a number of people who indicated they were interested in joining, and I've already seen at least probably somewhere between 8 and a dozen pictures in the thread of people who are working on stuff, so I'm excited to see that. The rules are simple to be part of Team CKT. Just come on over and tell us you want to join. Spin anything, any amount of time, any fiber, any wheel or spinning method that you have. We are pretty agnostic as far as things go. I just want as many people participating in the fun as can be. We have a chat thread currently. At the end of the tour, I will do a thread where each participant may post one photo of either all of what they've spun during the tour or their favorite photo from the tour. Everybody just gets one post, and then I will do the drawing out of that thread for a prize for a winner. Otherwise, all of the prizes will be random number generated, and otherwise each week I just kind of do a random number generator on the chat thread. So it behooves you to come over and chat and cheer on your teammates and share photos of what you're doing. It's not mandatory, but the more you chat, the more chances you have at prizes. So I went ahead and pulled 4 bumps of fiber out. So these are the prizes for this year. The first is one that I have spun. It is Hello Yarn Fiber Club August 2015, and it is Pounce. It is magenta, kind of browns, some navy, and a little bit of kind of an icy blue. And so that is, I'll show you the back too. That is prize number 1. And I'm not giving these out in any particular order. I will probably just draw one person a week from the chat thread and then one for the final. This is called Sour from Hello Yarn. It is organic Polworth top, and it is burgundies, pinks, and browns and oranges. It is a little bit like one of my favorite of her colorways ever, which is Sour Fig. You can pry that from my cold dead hands. I managed to get 2 bags of it, but this is kind of like that. It's called Sour. That is prize number 2. Prize number 3 is the twin bump to one that I will be spinning during the tour. This is called Mean Streak. It was Fiber Club July 2016, 65-25-10, Polworth wool, young mohair, and Tussa silk. So it's got some shimmer and shine. I have never actually spun mohair, so that's going to be a first for me. And the twin braid can be yours. It is teals and browns, and it absolutely glows with the silk and the mohair. It just absolutely shines. It's beautiful. And the final fiber is, this is from Southern Cross Fiber, way back. This was when he was doing a big solids release. Sorry for all the crinkling, I'm just trying to get it so you can see. This is his Great Barrier Reef combo, which is Dorset horn wool top. It is an interesting top. It is a little bit on the rough side, so I wouldn't say this is good for close to the skin wear. But this was his Great Barrier Reef combo, which is Corsair, Maui, Ocean Depths, Deep Teal, Pomegranate, and Cactus Flower. In terms of, it's a whole bunch of blues and some pinks or burgundies. Pinks, magentas, and then a whole bunch of teals. So this is a great prize pack. Like I said, it is from Southern Cross Fiber. It's from a couple years ago, and I loved the colorways. I'm so on the fiber, but it also has sat for so long, and I just want somebody to enjoy it. So that will be the final prize. All of these prizes are eligible for anyone who participates. I don't have any issues shipping internationally, so don't worry about that. So get spinning. I want to get back to my wheels, so I think I'm going to close the podcast now. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I was up to. I'm enjoying this new setup, although it occurs to me that the lighting is probably terrible because I forgot to turn on the light. I have some studio lights, and I have one positioned directly behind the video camera, and I forgot to turn it on, so I probably look pale and ghostly today. And I'm sorry about that, but I hope everything else worked out okay. And I will say, as I always do, please craft, and until I see you again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!